The sky is clear, the sun is finally shining, and we are ready to play ball here at the Benton Sports Athletic Complex on the final day of the Arkansas State High School Softball Championships. 2 titles on the line today, starting in the 3A between the Hoxie Lady Mustangs and the Baptist Prep Lady Eagles. Welcome everybody, alongside former Arkansas Razorback Sydney Parr. I am Dorian Kraft, happy to have you with us once again. Now Sydney, it has been a while, but Baptist Prep has been here before. 2 state titles, the first in 2005, the second coming in 2010. But the Hoxie Mustangs, this is their first ever trip to the title game. So how do the Lady Mustangs counteract the experience of their opponent?
Right, Dorian, Baptist Prep, they are experienced. Hoxie, this is their first time. So, there's going to be some nerves. I think it could go one or two ways, right? They are experienced, so there might be a lot of nerves. There might be no nerves at all because of that mentality of, hey, we don't have anything to lose.
Head coach Scott Brown told us that his girls don't even really realize how big of a game this is. They've never been here before. They don't know whether or not they should even be nervous about playing in this championship game, and they will get set to face the Baptist Prep Lady Eagles, 28-6 coming into this game. Head coach Tim Yelvington very excited about his team's chances, said he felt like they would have been a favorite in the 3A had the 2020 season not been canceled, of course, due to COVID-19.
Right, and COVID-19, that was such a tough year for so many athletes across the country, throughout the world. Sometimes, the high school athletes, they kind of go unnoticed. There's more of a focus on college athletes losing their season. But, they're here. So, it might have happened in 2019, but they are here in 2021.
Seize the day as we get ready to start with the first pitch here in the 3A state championship for the Hoxie Lady Mustangs. It will be Jaden Brown, followed by her sister Jacy, Ashton Wallace, Kaylee Moody, Kylie Jones, Michaela Johnson, Allie Milburn, Chloe Prater, and Hannah Riggs rounding out the batting order. And there you see in the circle, they will be going up against the senior Macy Welch.
Macy Welch has been dominant for this Baptist Prep team. She's going to sit in the lower 60s. She is a lefty. She's going to throw a drop, curve, rise, change, and screw. She throws a lot of pitches. This is going to be a change of pace, Dorian. We've been seeing a lot of pitchers who are rise ball dominant. Here, she is a drop ball pitcher. She really gets a lot of hitters to hit ground balls, and that's exactly what you want, is just to make your defense work behind you.
Welch, 64 1/3 innings pitched on the season. 14 starts, 17 appearances with a record of 8-2. A minuscule ERA of .544 on the season. Wow. And already you see Brown taking control of the box, stepping out, calling time as Welch stepped back off the rubber.
Right, I think she was trying to re-get her signal. I don't think she was so sure about the pitch called.
First pitch swinging, grounded to short, over to first in time to get Brown by a step.
And that was a great play by the shortstop, Taylor Borns. That is a tough play. It's hit very soft. She did a great job of being aggressive, coming to get it, to throw it across the diamond.
Brown runs well, but she is out by a step, and if you had any nerves, that's a way to get rid of them pretty quickly. First pitch swinging in the state championship.
Exactly right, Dorian.
Jaden's sister Jacy stepping in, takes a first pitch strike.
How cool is that, getting to play with your sister in the state championship game?
Jacy Brown leading this team with a .605 average. She's hit 4 home runs with 29 RBIs as she swings and misses at strike 2.
And there is that phenomenal drop ball that Welch throws. She throws that pitch. She executes it so well.
Tim Yelvington believing that his pitching staff is a strength of this team as the 0-2 misses high.
And that's a good thing to have. If you've got dominant pitchers who can get on the mound and really grind to work hard for your team so that you can be successful on offense, that's what you want.
The 1-2. Hit hard on the ground, but foul.
That curveball came really tight in on Jacy Brown's hands. She did a good job in that count, just trying to get a piece of it.
And you might have guessed by the last name Brown, but head coach Scott Brown, the father of Jaden and Jacy Brown.
Talk about sisters playing together, then you have your dad coaching you.
It's a family affair at Hoxie as the 1-2. Lined into left, just on the other side of the foul line.
And that was just a foul. And for J.C. Brown, we saw her kind of clap her hands like, man, you know, it's your first at bat. You're just getting settled in. She's already seen a lot of pitches from Welch. She would have liked for that to have been fair.
Oh, as a hitter, you always want it to be fair, right? Misses with the 1-2.
And that just misses down and out. That was her drop curve that she throws spectacular.
And count even at 2-2 here in the first inning. And again, Brown makes good contact, but pulls it foul.
She's not letting up in this at-bat. She's making a statement within her first at-bat, just like we saw her sister do. It's not always bad swinging at the first pitch strike, but as the 1-hole, 2-hole, you want to gain as much information on the pitcher as you can so you can relay that back to the dugout.
The 2-2. That one lined into left for a base hit.
And that is a great at-bat. We talked about it yesterday. That's most definitely a quab driving that ball through the 5-6 holes. She was predominantly getting pitched inside. She knew what was to be expected.
That's right. For those of you who may have missed the broadcast yesterday, a quab is apparently the acronym for a quality at bat. You can credit the coaching staff at Arkansas for coming up with the quab.
Most definitely. We even had a huge chart that said it in bold print.
Coach Matt Michael, we're talking about you. Squares the bunt, pulls back. Brown is on the run, and she is going to be out at second.
What a great throw by Macy Henderson. That was right on the money. We even saw Welch give a big jump in the air. I mean, could not have been a better throw. We saw J.C. Brown right there. I think as she got her jump off of first base, she kind of got tripped up just a little bit.
And worth noting that this field here at the Benton Sports Athletic Complex is on turf as that ball spins foul, and the majority of these teams not used to playing on the turf field.
No, you're exactly right, Dorian. We talked to Baptist Prep. They've been able to use Joe T. Robinson and UCA softball field to their advantage, but they're not on it consistently. And the same thing for Hoxie. They don't play on this surface often.
That one stays outside for a ball. I feel like UCA is the unofficial field of the Arkansas State Championships here because so many teams have been practicing on the UCA field. UCA, of course, also turf, not quite the same as here, but just to get the same feel. That ball ripped down the line in left field. Ashton Wallace turning for second, and she is going to be in there with a stand-up double.
And that is another great swing put on the ball. Ashton Wallace doing exactly what J.C. Brown just did. She got a double out of it, but we just saw Ashton Wallace being worked inside just like J.C. Brown. She got her hands inside of it and really stayed through that pitch.
And for Hoxie, this is a big confidence boost coming out and getting a couple hits off of starter Macy Welch.
That is a big confidence boost. That's exactly what you want in the top of the first inning, to be able to see your hitters have quality at bats and really hit the ball hard.
In stands Kaylee Moody. The 0-1 stays low.
Right now, we've kind of seen already a common trend by Macy Welch, really working these Hoxie batters inside, low and inside.
The 1-1. Make that 2-1 as that curveball missed.
And then as I say that, she goes right back outside, so.
The 2-1 swung on and missed.
And there's that drop ball that she throws so well. She gets a lot of ground ball outs on that pitch, and in that count with the runner at second, this is what you want right now. You want Kaylee Moody to hit a ground ball to end the inning.
Welch, the big lefty, the 2-2, swung on and missed for strike 3. And that is going to end the inning. Hoxie gets a couple of hits, but can't bring them in. We head to the bottom of the first. You are watching the Centennial State Softball Championships on Arkansas PBS Sports.
For every moment, for every memory, from that first car, to your first home, to your first child, and all the highs and lows that tomorrow might bring. For everything that matters most to you and your family, there's someone right around the corner dedicated to helping you protect what you love. Your local Farm Bureau insurance agent. Farm Bureau Insurance. Real service, real people.
For students, it's always more fun to include the arts when you're learning. I mean, just to have expression, to see different forms of entertainment, it always just makes it more fun. And when I heard that my mother was recording different sections that teachers were going to see, I was excited for the students who will get to use it in their classroom.
Arkansas PBS is a place where everyone can see themselves, where everyone can find themselves, where everyone can be a part of something bigger than themselves.
Support your team and join the conversation on social media with hashtag ARPBSSports. We're happy to have you with us for this final day of Arkansas State High School Softball Championship. Sydney Barr, Dorian Kraft with you. Happy to have you here on this gorgeous day here in Benton, Arkansas, as we are in the bottom of the first between the Hoxie Lady Mustangs and the Baptist Prep Lady Eagles, and it is Ashton Wallace who will be taking the mound for the Lady Mustangs.
Ashton Wallace is an impact pitcher for this team. She's going to give this team a chance to win. She throws 5 pitches: a fastball, curve, screw, change, rise. She can throw it all, people. And another thing that she does well is she just spots the ball well.
Spins it in for strike 1 against Taylor Bournes, and it will be Bournes, Welch, Childers, followed by Slayton, Midkiff, and Henderson for Baptist Prep, as that one stays high.
And another thing about Ashton Wallace is she's going to sit around the mid-50s and really just depends upon her spin.
Strike 2 to Bournes to even the count.
And Taylor Bournes, she is a right-handed hitter, but she is super speedy and has a lot of pop to her bat.
The 2-2. Hard on the ground, but foul just outside the bag at third.
We are seeing, so far in this game, the ball being pounded to the left side of the field.
And Sydney, do you think that's a product of the balls being on the inner part of the plate, or are batters not letting it travel far enough and getting their hands out around it?
I think it's most definitely the pitches being thrown to the inner part of the plate. We're seeing all of these hitters between Hoxie.
Swung on and missed for strike 3. Bournes didn't realize that Brown dropped it, and she jogs back to the dugout.
And there's that rise ball that Ashton Wallace throws so well. She really, really trusts her spin. And as a pitcher, your main job is to spot the ball, and that's one thing that Coach Brown said. She knows where it's going.
In stands Macy Welch.
And here it is, another pitcher that we can see step up to the plate and do damage as well.
Welch wearing number 30 today. Typically, she's number 8. As she flares that one out to left center field. That ball deep, but nice recovery out in left field by Michaela Johnson.
That was a great recovery by Michaela Johnson. She got a good read, and she was actually shaded over more towards the left center field gap. She could have taken about 2 steps deeper. I don't think she realized how far the ball was traveling, but she got the out.
The thing about this Hoxie outfield, as head coach Scott Brown told us, none of them had picked up a softball prior to this season. This is a completely new outfield, hadn't played in a pitch, not even an inning, a pitch of high school softball prior to this year.
And that's really something special, but I think that goes a lot to Coach Brown being such a great coach.
The 0-1 as Childers with a line drive and another defensive gem. Jaden Brown makes the grab to end the inning as Baptist Prep goes down in order. We are still scoreless as we head to the top of the second. You are watching the Centennial State Softball Championships on Arkansas PBS Sports.
The Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas. Over 2,500 team members across 17 local electric distribution co-ops, powering homes, farms, and industries somewhere across Arkansas. We are the Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas. Power and people.
The Cherokee Nation, our people, our culture, our history, our future. To learn more, go to visitcherokeenation.com and say hello to the Cherokee Nation.
Be the first to know what's happening at Arkansas PBS and get the latest sports updates. Download the Engage Arkansas PBS app today for exclusive content. We are in the top of the second of the 3A state title between the Hoxie Lady Mustangs and the Baptist Prep Lady Eagles. As we take a look down the third base line at head coach Scott Brown in his 5th year at Hoxie. Of course, coaching both of his daughters, Jaden and JC. And as we mentioned at the top of in the bottom half of the first inning, rather, this is a team that had 5 girls that didn't play softball prior to this year.
And honestly, hearing that out of his mouth, that's kind of crazy to think that they're here in the state final game. I think that really goes back to who he is as a coach, developing his athletes.
The 1-1 tapped back to Welch, over to first in time for the easy out.
And that's a great pitch by Welch, doing what she does best, getting the hitters to hit ground balls, fielding her position very well.
And Cindy, it's not just that they had 5 players that have never played high school softball prior to this year. They also didn't have a practice until after their first 6 games. The majority of the team also played basketball, so they had a basketball game on Thursday and their first softball game the following Monday, and not a practice in between.
That's some adversity right there, Dorian, in itself.
And it is Michaela Johnson who made that fantastic play to rob Welch of a hit in the bottom of the first, stepping to the plate. Takes strike 1. Swings and misses at strike 2.
I really want to know what their practices were like, okay? They've missed half the season. They're trying to develop their outfielders and some of their players. I bet they were flat out getting after it.
You'd have to be to make it to this level, right?
Exactly.
0-2. That one stays outside. Certainly getting off to a slow start didn't hurt them anyway. They started 1-4. They've ripped off 30 straight wins coming into today. Strike 3 for the second out of the inning.
To go back to your point, Dorian, you have that kind of start, but then you have 30 straight wins. As you progress throughout your season, it is just going to continue to get better and better as it goes on. These athletes are learning what their strengths are, their weaknesses are, what areas they need to progress in and get better at.
I need to correct myself. That's a 20-game win streak. We've called a lot of games, folks, over the last couple days. All the numbers start to bleed together at this point as Allie Milburn swings at strike 1.
That's okay. 20 games is still
20 games is
pretty darn good.
Yeah, it's very good. That one tapped foul towards the first base side.
And a little bit different approach by Macy Welch right now. She was going hard inside to these Hoxie hitters. Right now, she's doing a great job of staying away from them, throwing that screwball, and then also her killer drop ball.
The 0-2. Baptist Prep headed towards the dugout as they thought that was definitely strike 3, but the home plate umpire thought that ball just missed.
Macy Henderson, she was ready to get back to the dugout and get going.
That one will be strike 3, though, as Hoxie goes 3 up, 3 down in the top of the second. We head to the bottom of the inning, still scoreless. You are watching the Centennial State Softball Championships on Arkansas PBS Sports.
Now, more than ever, community is important. Local schools, businesses, and charities are in need of support. Each one of us can make a difference. When you volunteer, give, shop locally, or simply participate, you help support and grow your community. It makes us all stronger when we all are involved. I'm Susie Everett with Everett Buick GMC. We're proud to be a part of this wonderful community and want to encourage each of you to be involved in yours.
1, 2, 3, turn up! Whoa. It's going up in here! Let's go!
Download photos from the game at myarpbs.org/photos. Welcome back to the Benton Sports Athletic Complex as we are underway in the bottom of the second inning between Hoxie and Baptist Prep. Lady Eagles head coach Tim Yelvington has been a familiar face for this team. He's in his 20th season with Baptist Prep.
That is a lot of seasons, Dorian. You do not see coaches lasting that long typically before moving on to somewhere else. They were here pretty early too, I want to note. They're here at 7:30 for a 10 o'clock game.
That's right. The team made a Starbucks run prior to coming to the field today. They said it was tradition. They did it for their big games in both the regional and the state championship games. And just a note about Tim Yelvington, he got involved with this program because his daughters were playing, but his oldest, or I guess technically his youngest daughter, graduated in 2006.
So he's just stuck with it.
He's stuck with it. He told us that, you know, every year he kind of tells his wife, I'm thinking about giving it up. And she's like, don't you dare. As Wallace gets the strikeout of the leadoff batter, Liv Slayton.
You know, I tell people, Dorian, all the time that once you get into this game, it's like it sucks you in. It's so addictive, and there's so many things to love about it.
Katie Midkiff stepping to the plate. First pitch swinging as she fouls it back over to the first base side. Allie Milburn couldn't quite come up with it.
I think for Katie Midkiff right there in this at-bat, this is her first time seeing Ashton Wallace. I think she's really happy that Milburn just tipped that off of her glove to give her another chance.
Midkiff, one of the 4 pitchers on this Baptist Prep staff, as she takes strike 2. 391 average, 45 hits, 12 doubles for Midkiff. She looks at that one high and outside.
So interestingly enough, Katie Midkiff, she was their leadoff earlier in the season. Coach Yelvington moved her.
Tapped on the ground, foul.
To the 5 spot, but we talked about it prior to the game. We talked about it with him. He's more of a feel coach. His assistant is a big numbers person.
Yeah, so they go at it in practice, feel by numbers as Midkiff sends that out to right field. And well played by Bailey Prater for out number 2.
That was a great play by Bailey Prater as she went back to make the grab. That ball was carrying a little bit. I don't know if it's because the wind is picked up. It actually looks like it's coming into home plate, but she stuck with it to get the out.
Macy Henderson swinging at the first pitch, fouls it back into the screen.
And talking to Coach Tim Yelvington, he talked about Macy Henderson at the plate. She finds a way to get the job done.
That ball skied out into right center field. Who's going to come up with it? Chloe Prater and Bailey Prater collide in right center field, but Chloe comes up with it and holds on for out number 3. We are headed to the top of the 3rd. You are watching the Centennial State Softball Championships on Arkansas PBS Sports.
This month in Passport on the PBS video app, your on-demand library for the best of PBS.
Born a slave in Jamaica, taken from a mama. This be my story.
I hate the myth of Hemingway. The man is much more interesting than the myth.
There is no alternative to soul.
That on national TV was revolutionary.
These and other shows are available with Passport on the PBS video app. Download it today.
My name is Al Lopez, Papa Rap in the house. I live in Northwest Arkansas via Puerto Rico. Been here since 1994. desde 94. And really, Arkansas PBS is the one that has taught me about this great community that we have here. Wonderful, beautiful, so much programming, tanta programación for children, for grown-ups, porque es el canal de Arkansas. This is the real Arkansas channel.
Experience the action all over again next week and watch all the championship games at youtube.com/Arkansas PBS. It will be Henderson, Massey, and Turner for, oh, whoops, I'm looking in the wrong part of the lineup, my bad. Let's try this again. We're gonna go Prater and Riggs, and Prater again to start the top of the third for Hoxie. Chloe Prater just held on for that out in center field, colliding with her sister Bailey Prater.
What a recovery that was. They did collide, but she stuck with it.
It takes a lot of concentration as the 0-1 shows bunt. I'm gonna say she offered at it.
And this is the first time that we've seen a Hoxie batter try to square around and bunt, but this is something that Coach Brown said that his hitters will do quite often today, is try to small ball, put the ball in play, put some pressure on the defense.
The 0-2. Swung on and missed for strike 3. That is 3 straight strikes dating back to last inning for Welch.
I think Welch, she's been phenomenal so far these 3 innings, but she's really found her stride these past 3 batters. We're seeing her really mix up her pitches, go inside, outside, down, and out.
Hannah Riggs, the freshman, showing bunt. Pulls back to take it for a ball.
Riggs squaring around a bunt again as we saw the corners crashing very hard, and they're not scooting back. They're still staying in.
Tim Yelvington clearly expecting to see some small ball as she swings through that one. And Cindy, I like the idea. Actually, it was Coach Yelvington that talked to us about it during pregame. He sometimes has his team bunt if they're not seeing the ball well. So I like the idea here by Hoxie to try and get a little better sight on these Macy Welch pitches to turn and try and bunt this first time through the order.
I agree with you, Dorian. And talking to Coach Yelvington, even his power hitters, he has them bunt at times. Hoxie right now showing bunt. It's never a bad thing to do early in the game.
Strike 2 on the corner.
Which we've talked about this. I'm kind of old school. I love the small ball.
I would expect nothing less from a lefty slapper.
I love it. Everything about it.
As a third baseman, I hated to defend it. The 2-2. That one stays low. As Riggs has run the count full at 3-2. Welch yet to give up a walk. That one strike 3 on the outside corner, and that is now 4 batters in a row that have been victims of the strikeout.
Right now, Macy Welch is absolutely dealing. You just talked about she was in a full count. She's like, no problem. I'm going to bring this one right in there.
This brings us back to the top of the order in Jaden Brown. Brown hit the ball hard her first time up, but a nice play. It's short from Taylor Bornis.
In the heart of this Hoxie lineup, it is going to be the 1-2 hole, the sisters Jaden and JC.
1-0. Taken low for ball 2. Jaden coming in with a .521 average, 9 home runs, 24 RBIs. Has worked herself a hitter's count.
Now, we've seen some good batting averages, Dorian, but over 500, that's getting on almost every time.
Swinging, and it's fair by just an inch inside the left field line. And Brown will cruise into second with a stand-up double.
And again, this is another great at-bat by Jaden Brown, really hitting the ball hard. She got that tight inside curve, keeping her hands inside, working her barrel around it. And we talked about it earlier. It's a game of inches, staying right inside the line.
Midkiff well positioned with that ball, just hit too hard to get to it on time. And keep an eye on Jaden Brown. She's got 27 stolen bases on the year. We've already seen Scott Brown not afraid to put these girls in motion.
Oh, he's not afraid at all, especially with his daughters, Jaden and JC. They are the ones in this lineup who do have a lot of speed. So right now, if JC could get a base hit, Jaden's going to score from second.
The 1-0. That one into left field. Brown going to be waved around. There will be no play at the plate as Hoxie takes the lead on the RBI double by JC Brown.
And as we saw in her first at bat, JC sticking to the left side of the field. That ball is absolutely mashed. She gets another inside curveball, really staying with that pitch. Like I just said prior to that pitch, Dorian, Jaden's going to score from second, and she sure enough did. With 2 outs, she was going on contact.
And that is the sister-to-sister connection right there. And that brings up Ashton Wallace and a delayed steal by Brown.
Oh my gosh, they do have the speed, and that's such heads-up base running. When you're on first, on second, and you see the pitcher isn't quite looking you back or, you know, really being attentive to you, that was really good too with 2 outs.
Delayed steal, not something you see often in the game anymore, especially not from second to third. Wallace fouls it back up into her body.
You're exactly right. I don't really think I've ever seen that second to third. I've seen it maybe a handful of times.
I haven't seen a delayed steal since travel ball. I don't think I ever saw one in all my time in college. Probably not since a travel tournament.
The last time I saw it was in high school, and I think that was like my freshman year.
A piece of heads-up base running by Brown as the 0-1, or the 0-2 rather, swung through by Wallace. But Hoxie gets on the board first, courtesy of a RBI double by JC Brown. The Lady Mustangs take a 1-0 lead into the bottom of the third. You are watching the Centennial State Softball Championships on Arkansas PBS Sports.
Sports is so important to this state and the fabric of the state, and I appreciate Arkansas PBS doing all the state title games, and that makes it available for not just the fans in Central Arkansas, South Arkansas, but fans around the entire state. I can only think of the kids in small towns, and this is the biggest moment maybe in their sports careers, and they have that keepsake of having that game on TV to have with them the rest of their lives.
Thanks, George. Appreciate it. At Big Red Stores, we're always proud to sponsor, support, and partner up with many events and activities throughout the community. Among them, high school championships throughout the state of Arkansas. At Big Red Stores, our team members are always ready to assist you to make your visit with us a pleasant one. And at Big Red Stores, we recognize that none of our support or ability to serve the community is possible without you. That's why at Big Red Stores, you're always the MVP of the Big Red team. Big Red Stores, now more convenient than ever.
Today's student athlete of the game is Sydney Shempert out of Rivercrest High School. The senior pitcher with a 3.98 GPA. She plans to attend Arkansas State University and become a physical therapist. Congratulations, Sydney.
Good for her. Do you think we'll see her maybe when she gets done back at her high school working for the team?
I was going to say, I might need to see her. As Sydney and I were so inspired by what we saw today. We were out throwing the ball around a little bit in the outfield prior to today's game, and I'm going to tell you, my shoulder's starting to hurt a little bit already.
We just couldn't resist, could we? We've been seeing such great softball. We wanted to get a piece of it.
Massey, Turner, and Bennett coming up to bat for Baptist Prep in the bottom of the third. The Lady Eagles trailing Hoxie 1-0 after back-to-back hits from the Brown sisters.
And Coach Brown, he talked about Arkansas Baptist Prep's pitching staff being so phenomenal, and he said we are really going to have to dial in, settle in, have really great quality at bats to put the ball in play, and they've done just that.
And the one thing that really stood out to me about what Coach Brown told us is that this team has heart. Baptist Prep might be more talented on the field, but he doesn't think anybody has more heart than his team.
And heart goes a long way in this sport. If you can go out there and lay it all out on the field and give it everything that you've got, sometimes that just matches talent, maybe even goes a little bit above it.
The 1-2 to Massey. Swung on and missed for strike 3.
And that's a great pitch right there by Ashton Wallace. She throws that changeup in there to catch her off balance.
Wallace has struck out the first batter in each of the first 3 innings.
That makes a statement in itself. She doesn't want this leadoff hitter to get on.
How many times this weekend have we seen the leadoff batter get on and eventually come around to score? That one is dropped for a bunt. Allie Milburn can't glove it at first, and Karis Turner is on the error.
Karis Turner, that is really a well-placed bunt right there. As we saw J.C. Brown trying to go out, Kaylee Moody making the throw. Allie Milburn, like you said, just couldn't quite hold on, but that's what speed does, putting the ball on the ground. It always makes it a bang-bang play.
Ellie Bennett squares the bunt, pulls back as that one stays up out of the zone.
And bunting is going to be one thing that we see well throughout this game. Both coaches talked about how their plan is to bunt their hitters often.
Plays it down this time. The play at first. This time, Milburn able to make the grab, but Baptist Prep now has a runner in scoring position.
And Ellie Bennett, she just did her job there. There are 2 outs, but she advanced her to second base to turn it over to the top of the lineup. Allie Milburn, that was a great job. She saw her square around the first pitch. She was there crashing hard for the second pitch.
That brings up Taylor Bornas, who struck out in the bottom of the first, swings at the first pitch and fouls it back over the press box.
And this is another athlete that has a lot of speed, so if she could get something through the infield here in a gap, we will see a runner score and she potentially get extra bases.
Takes that one high.
And an 0-1 count, that's typically a tough pitch to lay off of. That was just about at the letters on her chest.
Borns with one of the higher averages for the Lady Eagles, 433. Is that one flared back to the mound, and an easy out made by Ashton Wallace, and that is going to end the threat here in the third. We go to the top of the fourth with Hoxie leading. You are watching the Centennial State Softball Championships on Arkansas PBS Sports.
Baseball, the most watched series in PBS history, is coming home.
There he goes.
See how baseball became our national pastime and why this Ken Burns series remains an American classic.
Sign up for our newsletter to be entered to win the entire Ken Burns baseball series on DVD.
Farmers and Merchants Bank and the Bank of Fayetteville share the mission of Arkansas PBS to enrich and empower all Arkansans. Community, dignity, respect. That's what Me Banking is all about. More at mebanking.com.
The Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas. Over 2,500 team members across 17 local electric distribution co-ops, powering homes, farms, and industries somewhere across Arkansas. We are the Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas. Power and people.
We never gonna stop.
Play ball. Win the full Ken Burns Landmark Series baseball DVD set by signing up to receive our newsletter at myarpbs.org/signup. Hoxie leading 1-0 here in the top of the fourth inning against the Baptist Prep Lady Eagles. As Macy Welch runs the count to 2-0. And Welch has really been the driving force for this Lady Eagles team this year. She is committed to Memphis to play softball and continue her career. Tap to first. Over in time to Karis Turner, who is covering to make the out.
And a great job again by Macy Welch. But to go back to her, Memphis is a outstanding program. They are a very gritty team. I was supposed to play against them when I was at Arkansas. Our game ended up getting canceled, but they are just so well coached. That's a great program. She's going to have a lot of success there.
Head coach Tim Yelvington telling us that Welch actually at one point considered transferring over to Greenbrier, wanted to get some more experience against some of the bigger programs in the state, decided to stay at Baptist Prep, and told him earlier this year that she was happy that she decided to finish her career being a Lady Eagle. On the ground to short, Borns over to first. Pitch and catch for out number 2.
And there it is again, getting that ground ball out. And to go back to what he said, I'm sure he is so happy and pleased as punch that she stayed. But he also talked about, and she is one of the top pitchers in the state.
I wonder if one of her conditions of staying was him no longer catching her, because he used to catch her. He catches all the pitching staff, and he used to catch her in the gym, and he said she almost killed him one day, and then that was no more. She threw too hard. That was it. Wasn't going to do it anymore.
Not to compare, but whenever I was younger, I hit my mom in the face, and she was like, okay, no more. So I think
hit my grandfather in the forehead. So I think it's just a thing that tends to happen as we're all growing up. The 0-1 foul towards the right side.
Yeah, and her being a lefty, yeah, no thanks.
Well, much like in baseball, coming out of the lefty hand, the spin is always going to look different no matter the velocity with which it's thrown. The 0-2 stays outside.
Much different, and right now we don't see left-handed hitters in Hoxie's lineup. That would, work more to Macy Welch's favor, but she has done very well against these right-handed hitters.
The 1-2. That one driven into the ground. Welch is there. Over to Slayton at first. 1-2-3 to end the inning. Lady Eagles coming to bat in the bottom of the fourth, trailing 1-0. You are watching the Centennial State Softball Championships on Arkansas PBS Sports.
I'm Logan Duval.
And I'm Lauren McCullough, and we are pleased to represent Arkansas PBS as the host of these first installments of the new segment series, Good Roots.
Good Roots will explore the culture and innovation of small towns across the state of Arkansas. Tune in for Arkansas Week or find us online.
I think sports are really big to a lot of people, and because it's an important part of our fabric in our community. And the one good thing about what I've seen is it's high quality production. You think of the small communities all over Arkansas, it's a big deal that they can turn on the TV or DVR or whatever and know they're going to get a quality product. And so I think it just expands the focus of what PBS is doing. Arkansas PBS is doing a great job, and I think it's part of education.
Without you, Arkansas PBS would not be possible. Consider becoming a member to support Arkansas high school sports today at myarpbs.org/donate. Hoxie holding on to a 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the fourth over Baptist Prep. And one of the big reasons for that, Sydney, has been the play of pitcher Ashton Wallace. And Wallace, it's even a miracle that she's out on the field right now. She suffered a car accident during her freshman year.
She did. She suffered that car wreck. It was traumatic. She broke her neck, having to come back, do a lot of rehab. To go back to her, she had to go through extensive rehab. She was in the hospital for a month, and this was her freshman year, so that was 3 years ago. She had to work back from that. The COVID year took a year away from her. That was going to be actually her first year getting back at it, so she's thankful for this last year.
It's been a slow recovery process, according to head coach Scott Brown. And actually, Wallace not at Manila is that ball into the right center field gap. Wallace actually played travel ball with the Arkansas Fierce with his two daughters. They convinced her to come over to Hoxie prior to her junior year. Was just getting set to be back. And actually, Coach Brown didn't really think that she was 100% at that time, has had the extra year to kind of work back. And it's taken her a while, but he feels like she is finally back to the pitcher that she was during her freshman season prior to that car accident. And certainly everyone happy to see her healthy, happy, and back out on the field.
You're exactly right, Dorian. Sometimes these athletes, they go through way more off of the field than they do on the field. That shows how resilient, though, she is as a person. You undergo such a harsh thing like that.
Slayton swings through the off speed. She struck out in the bottom of the second. Down 1-2. Takes that low to even the count.
Right now, this is really a big inning for Baptist Prep as they are down by 1 run. That was a really great piece of hitting by Mackenzie Childers, driving that ball to right field.
That one stays outside. That single by Childers, the first hit of the day for the Baptist Prep Lady Eagles.
And I want to go back to that really quickly. Bailey Prater, she did a great job of cutting that ball off and getting it in to just hold her to a single.
Fouled back, out of play.
In this lineup, Coach Tim Yelvington, he talked about 1 through 9, they can all get it done. They all know what their role is and what they bring to the plate.
Again, fouled back. Slayton, a .295 hitter, 14 doubles, 5 homers, so definitely some pop in the bat. She's second on the team in that category, 29 RBI, 36 runs. And she works a walk as Baptist Prep has something going here in the bottom of the 4th with 2 on and 1 out.
And again, this is a huge inning for them. We see Coach Brown going out to the circle as they're really getting going. This is the second time through their lineup, so they've seen Ashton Wallace. They know where she has been attacking them. As we can see, they're making a little bit of some noise.
Head coach Scott Brown only going with 10 on the Hoxie roster, so it's pretty much Ashton Wallace. He does have a secondary pitcher that he'll bring in on occasion, but for the most part for the Lady Mustangs, it's going to be Wallace going the distance.
And 10 people on your roster, that doesn't give you a lot of room. I'm sure when they're at practice and they're trying to attempt to enter squad, they're not able to do so because they only have those 10 players. But they have done great with just 10 players to get to the state championship game.
We've talked about how effective Wallace has been. She's thrown 42 pitches, 31 of which have been strikes through 3 1/3 innings.
And I think that stems from Coach Brown saying as a pitcher, she spots the ball so well. She knows exactly when she releases it, where it is going.
Katie Midkiff up to the plate. You see there the infield drawn in. Perhaps expecting some small ball from Midkiff. She is ahead in the count 2-0.
Coach Yelvington, he referred to her as an absolute beast.
And it was Midkiff that flared that ball to fairly deep right field in her last at bat. A nice play by Bailey Prater, able to make the catch, but she's got some power in that frame. 3-0 taking all the way, and it's in there for a strike.
And that's not a bad first at bat. Hitting a ball deep to right field, it's your first at bat for the state championship game. That's usually when you have the most nerves.
Back-to-back walks for Baptist Prep, and the bases are loaded for the Lady Eagles.
Right now for Ashton Wallace, she's really going to have to just dial in, let her defense work behind her to get the out. 2 back-to-back walks. I expect her here to go at this hitter, Macy Henderson.
Henderson leading the team in RBIs as she is swinging at the first pitch.
And this is a batter that Coach Tim Yelvington, he talked about. If he wants someone at the plate, this is one of the athletes he said he would like to see in a big-time situation.
Henderson, pure power, and she chases that one high. Snap throw by Brown. And Coach Scott Brown told us he feels like she's one of the best catchers in the state, regardless of size.
Oh, most definitely, and that's not a bad job right there. That's actually a really good idea to try to pick Mackenzie Childers, off at third.
Henderson waves at strike 3. She is down on 3 pitches for out number 2.
And that is a huge out for Ashton Wallace. She just had 2 back-to-back walks to load up the bases. She just went at Macy Henderson.
And Sydney, it felt like maybe a case of trying to do a little bit too much in an amped-up situation.
You're exactly right. Macy Henderson, you know, this is a big-time moment. Bases are loaded. You're down by a run. As a hitter, you can't apply pressure to yourself. You have to remain disciplined, stick to your approach.
Yeah, there's enough pressure out there. You don't need to go search for any more. As the 0-1 in there for strike number 2 on Kaylee Massey, who struck out back in the 3rd. Massey hitting .230 on the year, 20 hits. And she strikes out as Ashton Wallace loads the bases but gets back-to-back strikeouts to end the threat. Hoxie holding on to a 1-0 lead. We go to the top of the 5th. You are watching the Centennial State Softball Championships on Arkansas PBS Sports.
For every moment, for every memory, from that first car to your first home, to your first child, and all the highs and lows that tomorrow might bring. For everything that matters most to you and your family, there's someone right around the corner dedicated to helping you protect what you love. Your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. Farm Bureau Insurance. Real service, real people.
This past year has felt like a marathon in many ways, with each of us working to reach the finish line. We are happy we can make this journey together. Arkansas PBS is over halfway to our goal of adding 3,000 members by June 30th. If we succeed, we receive $21,000 from our Ambassador Circle. If you're not yet a member, you can help us reach the finish line. Call or go online today.
Learn more about the issues that impact our state with our long-running public affairs program, Arkansas Week, Fridays at 7:30 p.m. and Sundays at 10 a.m. right here on Arkansas PBS. And we are less than an hour in and already into the top of the 5th here in the 3A state final between Hoxie and Baptist Prep. The Lady Mustangs got a run in the top of the 3rd. And that is all the scoring so far here this afternoon, as Hoxie has been able to manage 4 hits against the Memphis commit, Macy Welch. The 1-1.
And Allie Milburn up to bat. This is actually her first year playing high school softball. And I would say what a first year it's been, getting to play in the state championship game on the biggest stage possible in front of your community.
The 1-2. Leaves it outside as the count evens at 2-2. And Cindy, to your point, a lot of players don't ever make it to the high school state championship, and they could be playing for years. So to get this opportunity in your very first year, something fantastic, not just for Allie Milburn, but for the rest of these Hoxie players.
Exactly, and this is something she'll remember for the rest of her life.
She's worked the count full at 3-2. Milburn struck out looking in her at bat back in the 2nd. And of course, not just a fantastic moment for Hoxie, but for Baptist Prep as well. As we mentioned, the Lady Eagles have been here before. As that one hit on the ground towards the right side, ranging over is Karis Turner. Over to first in time to make the out.
And that's great range by Karis Turner going back. She read that that ball was going to be hit a little bit deeper in the 3-4 hole to get the out, working her body around it.
I'm not sure if that's one of the plays that I would like better on turf versus dirt because of the way that ball was spinning as it came off the bat. I feel like maybe a little bit truer. I feel like on dirt, maybe that you might have gotten a little bit of a weird hop there.
Right, you're exactly right, Dorian.
Squares bunt. Drop to third, coming over and making the play is Katie Midkiff.
And that is a great job by Katie Midkiff. That really is a good bunt by Prater. She does a good job getting her body around it to throw on the run, throwing across the diamond to get the out. As she stays through this bunt, she reads it right off the bat, throwing off that right leg to get the out.
That's something we've seen a lot more of. It's trickled over from baseball into softball. Braxton Burnside at Arkansas does it a ton. That running through the throw is that one driven into the ground, and just by a step do they get Hannah Riggs. 3 up, 3 down in the top of the 5th for the Hoxie Lady Mustangs. They're still leading. We go to the bottom of the inning. You are watching the Centennial State Softball Championships on Arkansas PBS Sports.
I think it's important for Arkansas PBS to have sports because it provides sports on a greater platform to the entire community. And it also gives people in various other communities an opportunity to see other schools and other athletes and to have a greater appreciation for not just their own community, but the sports that are available across the state of Arkansas. There are so many lessons that sports provides, and it's one of the reasons why it's so important to the next generation of athletes coming up.
Riggs Rents, Arkansas's rental equipment provider, from aerial lifts to dirt moving machines and everything in between. Our family-owned and operated business takes pride in serving our employees and customers. Riggs Rents, a proud supporter of Arkansas PBS Sports. John's Honda, your hometown dealer for sales and service of Honda motorcycles, ATVs, Honda generators, and Honda lawnmowers. Family owned and operated since 1967, John's Honda offers factory certified technicians and experienced sales staff.
Arkansas PBS is proud to bring you the high school baseball and softball state finals live. We'll be back in the fall with the football state finals. It's just nice to have state finals again.
It is so nice, and actually, Dorian, in the first inning, I was painting over the crowd, and it almost makes me a little bit emotional to see all of these fans in the stands once again coming together for such an exciting moment.
We have had big crowds for the first 2 days of the Arkansas State High School Softball Championships here at the Benton Sports Athletic Complex. Today is no different. We haven't gotten an attendance number yet, but I'd say there's a couple hundred people in the stands in front of us, easily.
And it's pretty weather. The past 2 days, it's
just
been
weather.
a little gloomy.
What else could you beat? You got the sun out. We got softball going. Baseball's coming up next. Is that one fouled back to the screen by Karis Turner? Soccer going on over on the field.
There's just a lot going on.
Great place to be. There's a fun energy walking up in the morning. People are excited. I know everyone obviously there's a little bit more excitement after losing that last year to COVID. People are just happy to be back out in the sun, getting a little bit of normalcy again.
Right, normalcy is the biggest thing, just getting to have that back in life, whether it be sports or just everyday life in general. Normalcy is a great thing.
And Turner, the 2-2, leaves it high as she's worked the count full here to start off the bottom of the 5th inning with her team trailing by 1. Baptist Prep loaded the bases in the bottom of the 4th, but were victims of back-to-back strikeouts in Henderson and Massey as Turner works a leadoff walk.
In that last inning, that was a huge inning for them offensively. They just couldn't quite get a run across. But expect for them to put pressure on the Hoxie defense again this inning as they get to the last 3 innings of the game.
You see already Kaylee Moody and Kylie Jones moving in from that third and second as Bennett squares the bunt, lays it down. Moody gets the out at first, but the Lady Eagles get a runner into scoring position.
And if you're Ellie Bennett right there, you're clapping your hands and you're excited because she did her job. She executed to get Karis Turner over to second. Right now, they just need to match that 1 run, and anything beyond that, that's bonus, obviously.
Infield staying up for Taylor Bournes. High fly ball out to right field. Prater under it, but Turner tags and moves to third.
And that's really great base running by Karis Turner, tagging on that ball. She saw how deep Bailey Prater was. That's a tough play for Prater to get behind that ball and get the throw all the way to third base. So now she's just 60 feet away from home.
And that brings up Macy Welsh, who was flied to left and grounded out to second in each of her 2 at-bats. Good job by Brown to keep that one in front.
That was a great job. This backstop, it's not very deep. It is padded, so balls that get thrown up against it, they bounce pretty far.
Welch takes ball too low. Brown heading out to the pitcher's mound to talk to Ashton Wallace, and I would too if I was facing Macy Welch, hitting .553 on the season. And as we mentioned, Welch normally in number 8. Today she's wearing number 30. That's because earlier in the season she forgot her jersey. They gave her number 30 and she hit 2 home runs in that game.
Right, Dorian, and you know what? That's like the superstitious thing, you know?
The 2-0 leaves it low for, and she is in there to tie the game.
And that's great base running right there, reading it off the glove of Brown. I want to give major props to Ellie Bennett getting that sac fly to right field to get her moved over to third base to be put in that position to score.
That ball was on the turf. It skipped past Brown. No hesitation from Karis Turner. She was off and running, and she is in there safely as we are tied at 1 here in the bottom of the 5th.
She went in head first.
No fear.
Love it.
Two very different conversations being held on the field right now. You've got Scott Brown talking to his team who have just given up the tying run, and Tim Yelvington talking to arguably his best hitter in Macy Welch, now batting with the bases loaded, and she can change this game in one swing.
She sure can change it in one swing, and I think Tim Yelvington is just telling her to settle in. We've got 2 outs, let's keep it going.
3-0, that ball in the turf, and Welch works a 4-pitch walk. I keep wanting to say in the dirt. It's not dirt, so that's technically not correct.
But that's what you typically say.
I know. In the turf with the rubber pellets, it doesn't quite have the same ring to it. And in steps Mackenzie Childers, who had the first hit of the game for Baptist Prep. Singled into right center field on the 4th. That one to right field as well. Brader falling down in the outfield. Welch being waved around to third, and Childers into second, as the Lady Eagles have a 2-out rally going.
And that's another great piece of hitting by Mackenzie Childers, staying on that curveball on the outside part of the plate to drive it over to right field. Really great base running by Macy Welch, going from first to third.
Well, credit to Tim Yelvington on that too, because he has to be aware of what's going on. Ball 1 to Liv Slayton, who is 0 for 2, or 0 for 1 rather, with a strikeout and a walk.
Last inning was a huge inning for them offensively, but this has been even bigger now that they've tied the game. They have a little bit of a 2-out rally right here.
And Sydney, for Ashton Wallace, is JC Brown goes out to talk to her. How does she get back on track? Because she walked Macy Welch on 4 pitches. Mackenzie Childers just hit that one to the right center field hard, and now she's behind 2-0 to Liv Slayton.
I think she just needs to settle back in, not make the moment bigger than what it is. Get back to what makes her great as a pitcher. She is great because she spots the ball well and she knows where it's going. Right now we've seen her lose it just a little bit, so get back to spotting it up.
That one closer over the plate, but low, as Slayton ahead 3-0 in the count. Taking all the way, and that one in there for a strike.
And I will say, Dorian, something that I've observed from Ashton Wallace just this inning is she's working much quicker. She's back on the mound much faster.
And it's a walk to Slayton as the bases once again loaded for Baptist Prep. And Sydney, what would you like to see from her? Would you like to see her take maybe another moment and kind of collect herself?
Right, yes, and every athlete playing this game, you have this internal clock. You need to, slow it down, take the pace of the game. At times in situations, your internal clock speeds up a little bit. You start going faster because you get a little bit overwhelmed when you're rattled. So I'd like to see her just slow down just a little bit.
Midkiff back up the middle, that's going to score 1. Childers being waved around, no play at the plate. She will score, as Baptist Prep has plated 3 in the bottom of the 5th. The last 2 coming on an RBI single by Katie Midkiff.
And what a swing by Katie Midkiff, sending it right back where it came from, up the middle to drive in 2 runs. She did her job right there with 2 outs.
2-out rally for the Lady Eagles has been beneficial, as they have 2 on with 2 outs and 3 runs in here in the bottom of the 5th to take the lead over Hoxie in this 3A state championship. And Cindy, you kind of felt that with their at-bats, it was just a matter of time before Baptist Prep got on Ashton Wallace.
Right, Dorian, and it's their 3rd time through the lineup. Timely hitting is a huge part of this game. In the 4th inning, they didn't have that timely hitting. Right now, they are. And typically, once you've seen a pitcher, your 2nd, your 3rd time, you're more familiar with her, what she's going to throw, how she's going to attack you.
That ball low. We talk about it a lot at the college game, but the 3rd time through the lineup, really where you start to see those adjustments kick in. What kind of adjustments has Baptist Prep been making?
They've been attacking earlier in the count. That's something that they've been doing at the first part of the game, or they did in the first part of the game, is they got behind in the count. They're more aggressive right now, attacking those pitches early. And we talked about it yesterday. Adjustments are a huge part of this game. The faster you can make adjustments, the quicker you're going to have success.
The 2-2 to Massey, ripped back up the middle. Slayton being waved around third. Here comes the throw. It is cut off by Wallace as Slayton slides in safely.
And that's another ball that is absolutely ripped back up the middle. Macy Henderson staying on that outside pitch to shoot it back up the middle. Another great piece of hitting, and this all goes to being aggressive. This Baptist lineup right now, their offense, they are being aggressive.
This will be the 9th batter in the inning for Baptist Prep as Kaylee Massey stands in.
Something to this inning that I've seen Ashton Wallace do, she's gotten away from staying really far off the plate. That earlier in this game was getting the Baptist Prep hitters to chase.
Massey quickly down in the count 0-2. Taking the sign from third base coach, head coach Tim Yelvington. The 0-2. Taken on the outside part of the plate for strike 3, but Baptist Prep puts together a 2-out rally. They bring in 4 in the bottom of the 5th to take a 3-run lead over the Hoxie Lady Mustangs. You are watching the Centennial State Softball Championships on Arkansas PBS Sports.
Baseball, the most watched series in PBS history, is coming home.
There he goes.
See how baseball became our national pastime and why this Ken Burns series remains an American classic.
Sign up for our newsletter to be entered to win the entire Ken Burns baseball series on DVD.
Let me take you for a ride on the baseline.
Welcome back into the Benton Sports Athletic Complex, where Baptist Prep has scored 4 runs in the bottom of the 5th as they take a 4-1 lead over the Hoxie Lady Mustangs. Alongside Sydney Parr, Dorian Kraft, happy to have you with us on this gorgeous day for the final day of the Arkansas State High School Softball Championships. And Sydney, what an inning by Baptist Prep. They did all their scoring with 2 outs.
That was a huge inning for Baptist Prep. They were down by 1 run, but down by 1 run, no problem for them. They had a lot of timely hitting. This game is big on time, and they had a lot of timely hitters step up to the plate, hit some doubles, some base hits to drive in 2-3 runs. They did their job, and that was a huge inning right there. Being in the 5th, they're down to their last 6 outs.
Listen, we talk a lot about adjustments. What adjustments did the Lady Eagles make that allowed them to get those big hits?
So earlier in the game, they were getting behind in the count to Wallace. This inning, they were being more aggressive early, not getting behind in the count to where they had to hit her pitch.
And now the Lady Mustangs will come to bat in the top of the 6th, and it will be Jaden Brown, followed by sister JC and Ashton Wallace, followed by Moody Jones and Johnson coming up behind them. And for Hoxie, this has been the dangerous part of the order all year in Brown, and Wallace. That one had a little extra juice behind it, as that is Mackenzie Childers coming in here in the top of the 6th.
And Mackenzie Childers, she is great also for this pitching staff. She's going to sit around the mid-60s, touching a little bit in the upper 60s. She throws a curve, a backdoor curve, a change. She doesn't throw it a lot. And she also has a pitch that Coach Tim Yelvington called the Bluebird. I haven't heard that quite often, to be honest. I
had never heard it prior to our conversation with him.
Never heard that, but her pitching coach, Jennifer, it's a pitch that she came up with because it moves a little bit funky than what you're accustomed to.
The 0-2. That one spins away, and Brown goes down on 3 strikes.
And I think this is a good decision here for Baptist Prep, changing pitchers in the top of the 6th inning. You know, Macy Welch, she really grinded for this team, but to see someone different the 3rd time through the lineup, and Hoxie, they were at the top of the lineup, like you said, the heart of their lineup, so I think it was a good decision.
Tim Yelvington told us he's a feel guy, and clearly he felt like Hoxie was getting on Macy Welch, wanted to go with a change He brings in Mackenzie Childress, and he mentioned to us that he feels like he's got the best staff in the entire state of Arkansas, regardless of classification, because he's got 4 pitchers he feels comfortable throwing in at any point.
And to hit on the division piece of it, they played against some 6A, 5A schools and were very successful against those schools pitching-wise.
Childers actually has the majority of the innings this year for Baptist Prep, 85 innings pitched. She's 15-1 on the year. And she gets Brown chasing way off the outside for out number 2.
And there we saw Childers. She worked ahead in the count, kind of threw that waste pitch on the outside part of the plate to get J.C. Brown to chase. And that's exactly what you want the hitter to do in that count.
Right now, Mackenzie Childers very Kevin Kopps-like. 6 pitches, 6 strikes, 2 outs.
She's getting it done.
188 strikeouts on the year for Mackenzie Childers. I guess that make that 190 after the last 2.
And, you know, being a pitcher that's coming in this situation up by 3 runs, you are able to be relaxed a little bit. This is, you know, her time throwing in the state championship game. There are no nerves. She is aggressive on the mound right now.
And pitching with a 3-run lead. The 0-1 swung on and missed.
Great inside pitch by her, throwing that screwball tight in the hands.
Sydney, we have an opportunity for a perfect inning.
We most definitely do.
Now it's probably going to be a broadcaster's jinx. The 0-2 swung on and missed as 9 pitches, 9 strikes for Mackenzie Childers. She sits down the lineup in order as we head to the bottom of the 6th with Baptist Prep leading 4-1. You are watching the Centennial State Softball Championships on Arkansas PBS Sports.
For information regarding COVID-19 vaccine clinic locations, call the Arkansas Department of Health Vaccine Clinic Call Center at 1-800-985-6030.
Now, more than ever, community is important. Local schools, businesses, and charities are in need of support. Each one of us can make a difference. When you volunteer, give, shop locally, or simply participate, you help support and grow your community. It makes us all stronger when we all are involved. I'm Susie Everett with Everett Buick GMC. We're proud to be a part of this wonderful community and want to encourage each of you to be involved in yours.
We never gonna stop.
Hey sports fans, get the live game stats before we do by downloading the Engage Arkansas PBS app for your mobile device. There'll be a lot of stats to keep up with here this afternoon as Baptist Prep has taken a 4-1 lead over Hoxie here in the bottom of the 6th. All 4 of those runs coming in the bottom of the 5th with 2 outs as they go back to work with Turner, Bennett, and Bournes, which is exactly how the bottom of the 4th started. Turner worked a leadoff walk in the 4th, eventually came around to score on the double by Mackenzie Childers. Or rather, she scored on the wild pitch.
Yes, she did. She scored on the wild pitch. And here we're seeing Ashton Wallace again. She's working at an up-tempo, very fast pace. She's getting on the mound before the hitter's even back in the box.
That ball hammered, but fouled down the left field line. She kept her weight back on the changeup.
She did, and that changeup was actually a little bit elevated up in the zone. I think she might have lost it a little bit, but Karis Turner, she did keep her hands back, just barely getting around it enough to make it foul.
Another off speed, flared back out of play.
And so far in this game, we haven't seen Wallace Tunn throw a lot of off-speed pitches. I think right now, being down by 3 runs, she's really going to work that pitch to keep these hitters off balance.
Turner 0 for 1. She reached on an error in the 3rd. And she takes a ball 1. Walk.
And And that's a great job by Karis Turner right there, taking that pitch. It was a waste pitch. She didn't chase after it, staying disciplined.
That one flared to short, but right into the waiting glove of Jaden Brown.
And to talk about Jaden Brown and Kylie Jones, they make a really good middle infield. Coach Brown said that Kylie Jones actually has one of the best gloves and an outstanding arm.
Ellie Bennett takes that low for ball one. Back and out of play.
So we've seen Ellie Bennett so far this game square around a bunt, sack bunt, and move runners over. Her job right now is to get on base to turn it over to the top of the lineup.
She takes ball too low.
In which so far in this game she's done a phenomenal job of doing.
2 sacrifices on the day for Ellie Bennett, so hasn't recorded an official at bat here in this state championship game. Home plate umpire Diane Harris wants to talk something over with Tim Yelvington, something in the dugout.
And what Ellie Bennett's done at the plate, it has been so impactful for her team. She knew her role when she went up to the plate to move the runners over so that the top of the lineup could drive those runners in.
Harris now walking towards the Hoxie dugout.
I think we might be out of balls, Dorian.
There have been a lot of foul balls in this. And we got more balls coming in. Eugene Peterson handing 2 more to Diane Harris. Got to scuff them up. They got that new ball slick on them.
You know, there's no dirt to sit and roll them in to make them a little bit more rough.
The 2-1. Fouled back and out of play. Get that one back in here.
Yeah, we need it.
Two and 2 on Bennett. That ball stays up as the count has gone full.
I think right now for Baptist Prep, the ball is in their court. I don't think they need to lose momentum here. I think they need to keep putting their foot on the gas pedal.
And really, back and out of play.
And really remain aggressive in their at-bats.
481 here at the Benton Sports Athletic Complex to watch this 3A final. And they are starting to get loud, especially on the Baptist Prep side. It's a beautiful day to come out and watch some softball.
It really is, and you can't beat a pretty day getting to watch a softball game. 2 teams compete for the state championship game.
Ellie Bennett works a walk. That pitch didn't miss by much.
And you're exactly right, Dorian. The Baptist Prep crowd, they are getting a little bit louder as they are just 3 outs away from winning a state title.
That'll be their 3rd state championship in program history. They won their first back in 2005, a second in 2010. Taylor Bourne sends a shot to right center field. That ball is gone.
Talk about momentum. Taylor Bourne's driving it over the right center field wall. She does a beautiful job with that outside curve. Stays on it, stays through it to blast it. And that is a big time at bat right there by Bournes to give her team a little bit more cushion. As we can see, that ball's on the outer part of the plate. She really stayed through that ball.
The 8th home run of the year for Taylor Bournes. Her 28th and 29th of RBIs of the season have given Baptist Prep a 6-1 lead here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
And that's an athlete you love to have. She's got speed and also has power.
Now coming up right behind her, Macy Welch. Just as much power in her bat. She has 8 home runs on the year, so certainly not someone that you want to make a mistake to. As that ball fouled back out of play on the 100th pitch by Ashton Wallace. The 1-1. That ball slicing into the left field corner, hit hard, but Just foul.
And right before that pitch, I was just about to make the comment that earlier in the game, Wallace was pitching Welsh outside. The beginning of this at bat, she was pounding her inside, but we saw her go back to that outside pitch that last throw.
And she paints the outside with that one as Macy Welch looks at strike three. A little bit of confusion there between home plate umpire Diane Harris and J.C. Brown.
I don't think she was quite certain that she had 2 strikes on her. I don't think if she would have known, she would have taken that pitch so close.
That ball fouled back and out of play. I mean, that's a hitter's responsibility. It happens sometimes, but you know, they've got it out on the scoreboard and in right center, or left center field rather, you know, it's up there, and you got to pay a little bit more attention to what the count is.
Exactly right, and it does happen at times, Dorian, like you said, but you walk away from that at bat going, man,
I wish I would have had that pitch
known.
back, yeah. And now Yelvington and Harris going to talk it over. I think he disagreed with the count call as well.
I see some hand shaking over there, like just, I don't know, I'm not certain.
Well, Harris and the other umpires going to talk it over, I guess, to check the pitch count.
And as we see head coach for Benton, Coach Cox, she's coming up here, I think, to the press box to get a second opinion.
I had it as 1-2 in my 2 strikes in my book.
I had the same thing as well.
Not that my book is the official book, but in the book that Sydney and I are keeping up here each on our own, I had it as 2 strikes.
But in this situation, Dorian, she's already walked back to the dugout. She's not going to get to go back up to the plate. So I think it's unfortunate.
Wallace has already thrown a pitch to Mackenzie Childers. So the at-bat, regardless of what the count was, the at-bat should be over.
You're exactly right. The game has moved on already.
I have been told that what it is actually another softball issue. So
I guess we were confused.
Get all the count talk. They had it figured out on the field. It has been a deplenished softball issue that has been going on here this afternoon as that changeup just misses.
And that is a great changeup thrown by Ashton Wallace for Mackenzie Childers. That is also a really great take. Tough pitch to take.
Childers 2 for 3 this afternoon with a line out, and then she had a single to lead off the 4th, and she had that RBI double in the 5th.
And I know I keep making this point, Dorian, but this is another pitcher who can hit. I just love the versatility that I'm seeing. It's been a while since I was in high school and college. You don't see the pitchers hit, so I'm really enjoying this right now.
That ball behind Childers. Of course, Childers coming in the top of the 6th inning to replace the starter Macy Welch, and got 3 outs on just 9 pitches, all of which were strikes.
And that is a perfect inning. You can't paint it any better than that.
You don't see a perfect inning very often.
Right now, Ashton Wallace, she keeps exchanging balls, I think, since they're new. Kind of like what we talked about. It's not dirt, so you can't scuff them up.
The 3-1. And again, that ball behind Childers as she will work a walk. And Sydney, to your point, I think that's exactly what's happening. The balls are new. They're a little bit slick. I can't tell from here how raised the laces are. Balls vary in terms of the lace raise on them. And it just looks like right now she just can't get a good grip to spin her pitches. And I think that's what Scott Brown is arguing right now with Diane Harris.
Right, that's exactly what he's arguing. And as he's pointing to the balls and looking at them with, I think, a little bit of frustration.
I do see a little bit of frustration there from Hoxie head coach Scott Brown. And it's unfortunate to deal with a scenario like that in a game like this in a 3A state championship. But, you know, we talk about adversity all the time. Balls being put out of play, you need new balls to come in. It's just unfortunately a part of the game that you have to deal with in the turf field here at Benton. You know, it's conditions that are equal for both teams.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's not just one-sided. So whenever Childers comes back out, she'll have to deal with it.
That ball fouled back to the screen by Liv Slayton. Slayton 0 for 1, 2 walks, but did score in the 5th. That stays low for ball 2.
And right now for Ashton Wallace, there's a little bit of some frustration. She's losing it just a little bit on the outside part of the plate low.
Wallace struggling to find the strike zone as the count is run to 3-1. That ball caught enough of the plate. And now it is 3-2 with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th inning. And that is another walk.
And a lot of times, Dorian, whenever pitchers lose it, they typically lose it arm side. So for a right-handed pitcher, that would be the inside part of the plate. Right now, Ashton Wallace, she's going to have to take, you know, what she's given, the adversity that she's facing, and really just try to fight through it.
That is the 8th walk issued by Ashton Wallace here today. 5 hits, 6 runs for Baptist Prep. Katie Midkiff had the big 2 RBI single back in the 5th inning that really broke things open for Baptist Prep. And another rocket shot. Childers going to be waved around. She will score as Midkiff with her 3rd RBI of the game on another RBI single.
I mean, have a game, Katie Midkiff. That ball is absolutely ripped past the 3rd baseman, Kaylee Moody, to left field. That's a great piece of hitting by her. She remained disciplined. She took first pitch strike because Liv Slayton had walked previously before her, but the pitch showed up and she put a really great swing on it.
Baptist Prep now up 7-1 here in the bottom of the 6th as they have gotten a 4-run in a 3-run inning in back-to-back innings to take a commanding lead here in the 3A state tournament.
And Coach Tim Yelvington, his biggest thing that he tells his players is just to have fun. And I was going to make the comment in the 3rd inning about how you felt about that, Dorian, but I think they're having fun now.
And it is always a whole lot more fun when you're playing well. As I told Sydney back when I played in college, our coach would occasionally, when we weren't playing well, yell at us to have fun. And I always wondered what was fun about being yelled at. That ball is deep, but it will be playable as it is tailing in. It is dropped in center field by Chloe Prater. 2 runs come in to score.
And that's a great job by the Baptist Prep base runners, ensuring that they ran on the pitch. They had 2 outs. And for Chloe Prater, that's a little bit challenging right there. That ball seemed to have been hit deep. She had to run in to get it. I think the wind carried it a little bit, just a little tough to hang on to.
That ball tailing away from Chloe Prater in center field as it got caught by the wind up there in the air.
We could see her, in that replay right there, that she took a step back and then had to sprint in.
2 more runs in for Baptist Prep on the air, so it is 9-1 for the Lady Eagles as they have exploded offensively here in the last 2 innings.
And we talked about a little bit earlier, Dorian, it is a game of momentum, and they have all the momentum right now.
Kaylee Massey quickly down 0-2 as that ball fouled back over the press box. And for the 2nd inning in a row, Baptist Prep has sent 9 batters to the plate.
And offensively, that's what you love to see. It just doesn't go down as 1, 2, 3. 9 hitters to go through. You're going through your entire lineup.
Popped high. That one will be foul out of play. Kaylee Moody makes the out, but Baptist Prep hangs a 5 spot in the bottom of the 6th inning. They lead 9-1 as we head to the top of the 7th here in the 3A final. You are watching the Centennial State Softball Championships on Arkansas PBS Sports.
The Arkansas Citizens Access Network gives you a front row seat to your state government. Live stream board and commission meetings, press conferences, legislative proceedings, and more. Events are also archived for 30 days. Receive updates right on your phone by texting ARCAN to 313131. Be informed and get involved at myarkansaspbs.org/ARCAN. The Arkansas Citizens Access Network gives you a front row seat to your state government. Live stream board and commission meetings, press conferences, legislative proceedings, and more. Events are also archived for 30 days. Receive updates right on your phone by texting ARCAN to 313131. Be informed and get involved at myarkansaspbs.org/ARCAN.
For a DVD copy of any of the state championship games, go to M&M Productions to place your order. That's mmproductions.net. Mackenzie Childers will try to finish things off here in the top of the 7th with Baptist Prep leading 9-1 thanks to another big inning in the bottom of the 6th. And it will be Moody, Jones, and Johnson for the Hoxie Lady Mustangs, as they've got their work cut out for them if they want to try and extend their season.
They sure do, Dorian. And at the bottom of the 6th inning, before we cut to break, we saw Jaden Brown going to hug her dad on the sideline. That touched me a little bit, made me a little bit emotional with that father-daughter bond. That wasn't an inning that they really wanted to have happen to them.
It's always tough to come out and play a state championship game and to be on, if the score holds, what will be the losing side for Hoxie. But certainly, as we've talked about, nothing to be ashamed about for this Lady Mustangs team. Got off to the slow start, 20 wins in a row to make it to their first title game in program history, as Moody takes ball 1 low.
That's exactly right. And to put some, perspective out there, this is one game. This one game doesn't define who you are as a player or a coach or a team.
The 1-0 swung on and missed. What was the first ball thrown by Mackenzie Childers to start off the inning?
It was going to happen, I think, at some point.
That one in there for strike 2, and that one's popping the glove with some intensity.
She is bringing that pitch in there. I think she's probably, out of the past 3 days, one of the hardest throwing pitchers that we've seen.
A little extra amped up, though, because of the situation?
Oh, most definitely.
Another strikeout for Mackenzie Childers, as that is 4 out of the 4 batters that she's faced.
Ready, number 1, Kylie Jones.
Kylie Jones 0 for 2 today, a ground out in the 2nd and a ground out in the 4th. And she will stand in with 1 out here in the top of the 7th inning. She goes after the first pitch. It's a good cut. It just passed her by Childers.
Kylie Jones just missing that pitch. The curveball on the outer part of the plate really had tight spin on it.
The 0-1. A curveball again for strike 2.
And right now, Childers, she is living on that side of the plate this inning so far. The past 2 batters that she's faced, or excuse me, the last batter she's faced, and now Kylie Jones.
The 0-2. They say she offered, and it is another strikeout for Mackenzie Childers. That is 5 in a row, and that brings the Baptist Prep fans to their feet as the Lady Eagles are 1 out away from capturing the 3A state championship.
And as we can see right here, the Baptist Prep side, their fans, they're up on their feet, they're ready. And for Childers right here, I mean, she has come in and has done phenomenal work.
And she starts off Michaela Johnson with a strike on the inside corner.
She just went outside to the last 2 batters, coming in tight to Johnson with that screwball in the inner part of the plate.
The 0-1. Swung on and missed for strike 2, and now the Hoxie Lady Mustangs down to their final strike.
Childers is absolutely bringing it in there. She has a lot of oomph behind it.
The 0-2. The fans wanted it. Macy Henderson tried to frame it, but that curve just a little too far outside.
It was just a little too far outside, but props to Macy Henderson. She was trying to get Childers that strike.
Childers looking into the dugout. She's got the signal. The 1-2. Swung on and missed for strike 3 as Baptist Prep wins the 3A state championship 9-1 over the Hoxie Lady Mustangs, the 3rd state title in program history.
Talk about a total performance by Baptist Prep. They got it done defensively in the circle. Macy Welch and Mackenzie Childers being the 1-2 punch, and offensively really powerful at the plate to drive in 9 runs.
12 strikeouts combined between Childers and the starter Macy Welch, but it was the big bats of Baptist Prep that came alive in the bottom of the 5th inning that really propelled them to the victory.
They most definitely did. That 5th inning was huge. Also, the bottom of the 6th inning, they had timely hitting. They executed, they small balled. They also were allowed some walks, which helped them within their timely hitting to get more runners across.
We will have more celebration from the Benton Sports Athletic Complex as Baptist Prep will receive their trophy. Don't go anywhere. You are watching the Centennial State Softball Championships on Arkansas PBS Sports.
Baseball, the most watched series in PBS history, is coming home.
There he goes.
See how baseball became our national pastime and why this Ken Burns series remains an American classic.
Sign up for our newsletter to be entered to win the entire Ken Burns baseball series on DVD.
Thanks, George. Appreciate it. At Big Red Stores, we're always proud to sponsor, support, and partner up with many events and activities throughout the community. Among them, high school championships throughout the state of Arkansas. At Big Red Stores, our team members are always ready to assist you to make your visit with us a pleasant one. And at Big Red Stores, we recognize that none of our support or ability to serve the community is possible without you. That's why at Big Red Stores, you're always the MVP of the Big Red team. Big Red Stores, now more convenient than ever.
1, 2, 3, turn up! Whoa. What's going on in here? Let's go!
Baptist Prep gets 9 runs on 6 hits, all 9 of their runs coming over the final 2 innings as they defeat Hoxie 9-1 for the 3A state championship. And they celebrate with head coach Tim Yelvington their 3rd state title in program history, the most recent coming in 2010.
And how exciting to win a state championship. I hated to see Hoxie go down like that. There were some emotions over there on the side when they were receiving their trophy. Again, nothing to hang their heads about. It's crazy the head coach Brown said that they are just even here.
Tim Yelvington said he told his girls at the beginning of the season that this was a championship caliber team. They have been planning for this moment. Actually, for the last 2 years, they lost in the 3A semifinal to Rosebud back in 2019. And Tim Yelvington took a look at their schedule then, Rosebud's schedule, I should say, and took a look at it and saw that Rosebud specifically scheduled tougher teams, and he put that into practice for this year.
And that's exactly what you want, to play a tough schedule, so when you get on this type of stage and playing in the biggest game that you can make it happen.
Macy Welch named the MVP of the state championship game. The senior Memphis commit gets a big hug from her pitching coach and head coach Tim Yelvington. We will have more from the 3A state championship when we come back. You are watching the Centennial State Softball Championships on Arkansas PBS Sports.
season of Blueberry's Clubhouse. We'll see a whole new crop of friends for the very best adventures in Arkansas.
Stay connected to your public media network. Text ARPBS to 313131 to receive the latest updates. Message and data rates may apply.
Baptist Prep defeated Hoxie 9-1 here in the 3A state final to capture their third championship in program history. Alongside Sydney Parr, Dorian Kraft, happy to have you with us. And Sydney, for the Lady Eagles, it was really all about late game timely hitting. Mackenzie Childers, Katie Midkiff, each had 2 hits, but really it was the big home run off the bat of Taylor Bournes that ended up blowing this thing wide open.
All 3 of them had phenomenal at-bats all day. They were extremely aggressive early in the counts, and I think that's what led them to their success. That home run, I think that's what sealed the deal. They had all the momentum in the world. Just a really great job. Head coach Yelvington, he talked about how their strength is pitching and hitting, and we saw that displayed today.
Well, since you mentioned pitching, it was, of course, the starting pitcher, Macy Welch, who ended up taking home MVP honors. 5 innings pitched, countering 4 hits, giving up just the 1 run in the 3rd inning. And then it was Childers coming in relief, and she was absolutely electric in the circle.
She sure was electric. She had a perfect inning to start coming in. They are a great 1-2 punch, and I believe it. They are 2 of the top pitchers in the state, and they displayed that today out on the mound. They both have a different look. They throw different pitches, different style, and it was good to see 2 different pitchers like that come together to get the win.
On the other side of the field, the Hoxie Lady Mustangs taking home state runner-up in their first ever trip to the title game. And for a while, they definitely were the better team out on the field through the first 4 innings.
Oh yeah, they made a lot of noise early in the game. They had productive at-bats, were making great defensive plays, but again, we've talked about it, nothing to hang their heads about. This is a learning experience. They should be back here in the future. And you know, like they said, they're just happy and excited to be here.
We certainly expect to see more from Hoxie in the future and a lot more from Baptist Prep and Tim Yelvington. As we said, 20 years on the sideline for the Lady Eagles. He's been a part now of 3 state championships. Congratulations to Coach Yelvington and the Baptist Prep Lady Eagles. That is 5 of our 6 state champions down. We have 1 more left to crown. Don't go anywhere. We'll be doing that later this afternoon at 4 p.m. But for now, we've got state baseball coming up at 1. We will see you later right here on Arkansas PBS.